Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Luke, and you're watching Luke the Gathering. Thanks for checking out the channel and being here. Really appreciate it, as always. And today is Friday. And today I was a bit nervous going to Friday Night Magic. First of all, it's still Lost Caverns of Ixalan, and I've just completely sucked the past few drafts. And even on Arena, I've not done well. So whatever it is, Lost Caverns of Ixalan is just not my jam. I like to play it, but it just gets frustrating when you lose. And so, I haven't had very many winning streaks with this particular draft set. So I was definitely nervous going into tonight. Plus, being sort of during the holidays, there's typically less people at the card store. Last time we only had a 6-person pod for draft. Typically we have between 14 and 20 or more even. But today, or last week, it was only 6, and today it was only 7. So we had someone who had to do the buy, and then just a really small group. And I ended up with a deck that I wasn't a huge fan of, but I did at least get a bomb card, and thankfully that bomb card led me to some victories. Honestly, that's what got me the victories. I was 2-1 in terms of rounds, so I won 2 of my rounds and lost just 1. And then the one round that I did lose, I think it was close because I had lost that round 2 games to 1, and so it was close. It was really good. The deck I actually did not have a lot of confidence in, and in fact, the strategy that I came up for the deck had no bearing on any of the games I played, like absolutely none. So when I show you the deck, I'll talk about it, but the deck that I made and the way I thought it would play out, it did not play out that way. And in fact, the bomb that I got ended up just cleaning house when it came in, and that pretty much sealed the deal for me. And bombs are bombs, so they work, and I'll show you the bomb that I got. In fact, it was a splash into the deck, because otherwise it would have been an Orzhov deck, black and white. But it ended up being Mardu with that little splash of red in there, making the biggest difference in the entire deck. And so I'm excited to show you what the deck is, even though it's not the best. And then I got a few prize packs of Good Old Unfinity to open. So we'll check out what we get in those. Those are the prizes that I ended up getting. So let's turn the camera around and check out the deck. Okay, well, here we're going to start with the Adaptive Gem Guard, and this is actually the card I sort of built around for the deck itself. This can be a very powerful card, because when you tap 2 untapped artifacts or creatures, this thing gets a +1/+1, and this thing actually can get extraordinarily big and large and scary. And so I built around it. I ended up having 2 of these. I thought these were going to be like the main sort of end game for this particular deck. Get these really big, attack, and win. But unfortunately, I rarely drew either of these cards when I was actually playing the games. I think maybe in I don't know, just a couple of games I actually had the Adaptive Gem Guard in hand. The rest of the time, it was just stuck in the deck. It didn't come out, didn't do a thing. And so this actually ended up being a non-factor, which was sad, because things like Tinker's Tote, this is an artifact, and it makes 2 artifact creatures. You can, if you tap the 3 of these plus one of the Gem Guards, it's already getting +2/+2, which is a 5/5. These are great paired together. Yet I got the Tinker's Tote quite often. So Ironpaw Aspirant, I just think is such a great early game play. Even if you play it on turn 2, it's a 2/3, or you can put the counter on something else that makes something else a little bit more significant, and this can be like a chump blocker. This card just is really versatile, and the +1 counter is really key to a lot of things, helping other things survive, making other things, creatures that the opponent doesn't want to attack into. So this is pretty sweet. I like this card. Same thing with the Deathcap Marionette, just in a different way. It has Death Touch, so it's a nice blocker. It makes your opponents think twice before actually coming in and attacking you. These are great in Descend decks because it says you may mill 2 cards when this enters the battlefield. For my deck, I never did that, just because my deck is not a mill deck, and milling things is not what I want to be doing, because there's nothing I can do to get them back, and I don't want to mill something that I don't want to lose, so I ended up never milling. And these were just pretty good defenders. I had 2 of them. Skullcat Snail got played a lot, and actually was a pretty decent card. On Arena, I've been playing this card, and I know people like this card, and it's done well, but for myself, I haven't felt it has done like that much. So in the deck, I just had 1 because I was really like trying to find creatures to put in this deck. I didn't get a really great draft in terms of creatures, but I stuck it in there because it could chump block. Maybe you could use it to craft with things later. But this ended up being pretty good in terms of a blocker and something that got cards out of people's hands. Thousand Moons Crackshot. This is a card I never hardly ever play in a deck, but I played it in this one because I needed creatures, and it's a 2/2 for 2. Potentially can tap things down, so it's alright, but it's not a card I want to really play at all. Bloodrage Mycoid. This is cool in that it leaves behind 2 things when it dies. Or actually, no, only one thing. It says, actually, no, at the beginning of your end step, if you descended, you get to make a 1/1 black fungus token. So, no, never mind that. It's not the dying into things creature. It makes things when you descend. However, this is another card I just never drew into my hand, never made the battlefield, never even came out of the deck. So I can't really speak to this card in terms of how it did because it didn't do anything. This Mephitic Draft, this was a card I pulled quite often, and it was cool. You know, you can put things into the graveyard, draw a card, kind of lets you get through your deck. Gives you a little bit of card selection. I thought this was good. Tithing Blade, excellent, especially early game, and thankfully had it a lot early game, where there's only one thing on the battlefield and you just want to get rid of it. This did well. Crafting it kind of gives you like a little ping every turn, which does make a bit of a difference sometimes. So I really like Tithing Blade. Here's some more removal. Dusk Rose Reliquary. Again, this just removes anything, target or creature. Just a really solid little card there. Clayfired Bricks, awesome card. Gives you 2 life and a plains, and then with 7 you can craft it. I always felt that the 7 was so high, but actually it's not that bad. We get there, especially when you're trying to stall the game out a little longer. And it turns into like an Anthem effect, where all the creatures get a +1/+1 on your side, and you get 2 1/1 gnomes, which end up being 2/2s because of the +1/+1 Anthem effect. Greedy Freebooter, just an okay card. Like how it makes a treasure, like how you can scry with it when it dies. Quicksand Whirlpool saved my butt a bunch of times. Big dinosaurs coming in, and you whirlpool them away, and they can't do anything about it. Petrify, similar, really good, just at freezing down an opponent's creature. Bitter Triumph, again, another good removal spell. The one thing I will say about my deck, it had a lot of removal, and that was actually really key to this deck's success. Fanatical Offering, this is more of a card drawing card. Fungal Fortitude, this was pretty good too. This helped win battles. It got cards back from the battlefield, the graveyard back onto the battlefield, and cards with like ETBs, you kind of reuse the ETB, which I did. I had a rare later that I'll show you that came back with this and actually was really helpful in a certain matchup. Family Reunion is not a card I usually put in anything, but I was like, maybe I can go a little wide, There's a couple of reasons, and you'll see why I said that. All the creatures getting +1/+1 is pretty good. Or you can make something hexproof, and actually that's what I did. They tried to remove a creature of mine, and I gave it hexproof, and there went that idea. Malamet Warscribe, I love this card. It just pumps your whole team up and lets you go in. The only bad thing is this thing, it pumps itself up, and it becomes like a 6/5 or 6/4, but it can't attack unless something has haste that enables it. But by itself, only does good for the rest of the team. Rare Time, Fabrication Foundry. I had this the other week. I don't really like this card, but I don't know. I put it anyways. Sort of a mana rock for artifacts. I did use the effect for that. I did end up, using this to craft things with, so it had its uses, but it's It's not a great rare. Here's Kutzil's Flanker, and this was great. It has Flash. This is the card that exiles a player's graveyard, and against like the Descend decks, they had Descend activated. They had guys, like they had a 3/4 or 4/3 creature on the field, and like things were looking great for them. I exiled their graveyard. Suddenly, they didn't have that anymore. Their board was significantly worse, and this was just sort of a bullet for those Descend decks. Otherwise, it's just a cool guy that flashes in, lets you scry, gives you some life, or puts some counters on itself if certain conditions are met. So I think this was okay. I don't like it as a rare so much, but it is solid. And my bomb level card was Quintorius, the Planeswalker. This thing, basically, when you +1, it makes a 3/2 red and white spirit creature token, and then that's all you need to do. Just do that over and over and over every time, and it's hard to beat this card because you just end up with an army of 3/2s. And it starts with loyalty 4, and making the 3/2 is a +1 for it, so it becomes like a 5. Even if they're pecking in for a little bit of damage, this thing just goes up and up and up. And, this will make you enough 3/2s that your opponent will just get really frustrated. So this was the bomb. This won me a bunch of games. The only red card in the entire deck, and it was 100% worth having in the deck. So good job, Quintorius. Help me get my 2-1 record. Okay, let's check out some of the prizes I got. Unfinity. What is there to be in this stuff? I really don't think there's going to be anything great, but we will check. Anyways, we got Exchange of Words. This is actually a rare that you can play in Legacy formats. That's kind of nice. Ooh, we got the Planet Forest, which is good. Costume Shop, Bounce Chamber, Teddy Bears, cute, and some stickers. Alright, that's pack 1. We got 3 total packs here of Unfinity that I got as prizes. Just gonna scroll through that. There's the rare Vidalkin Squirrel Whacker, and it is legal too. This is a legal card to play. Also got a mountain, cool. Not a space mountain, unfortunately. Foam Weapons Kiosk, Roller Coaster. We got a Park Map foil, treasure, and stickers. Okay, here's our last pack. Let's see if we got anything cool for prizes. We'll just skip to... We got Spelling Bee. Now, unfortunately, Spelling Bee is an Acorn rare, so that means you cannot play it. Except in, like, this particular format, we got the Island. It's the regular Unfinity Island. Trivia contest. Ooh, we got a foil mountain. That looks really good. Good looking foil land. We got a cat token. It's a flying cat token. Flying cat tutu. That's pretty good. But there you go. There are the cards. So thanks for watching, everybody. Again, my bomb this week was Quintorius. Did so much good for me. It was amazing. I'll see you next time.